Hey everyone, today I'm going to create 36 cards using the Happy Harmony Shaker Card Kit from Queen & Company. I have done a video on this already where I did a review of the kit contents, and I will put a link at the top here if you want to go and check that out. Make sure you come back and see how I create the cards as well, of course. The paper pad in this kit is absolutely fantastic. It has loads and loads and loads of really pretty designs, and I use the entire paper pad today. I did supplement it with a few colours of cardstock here and there, but the entire paper pad is completely gone. Now, in terms of the card kit itself, it does come with these shaker elements, and it does come with the dies, the paper pad, some foam and acetate. It does not come with these outline dies, and I've also used foundation dies 12. This is sold separately, and I used it today, including the designs that are recommended on the website for the foundation dies. Here I am getting started with the cards, and I have cut out the designs or the layouts or card sketch examples, and I decided which of the different elements I'm going to use for each card layout. So there was 6 different sketches, and there are 6 main shaker elements as part of the card kit. I lined them all up, decided which I was going to go with which, and then I started picking my pattern papers. Because I haven't really used Queen & Company before, and I know a lot of the style of the cards that people create have loads of layers and loads of sort of colours that work really well together, I thought I would start with what I felt like was going to be the simplest layout, but then also maybe the simplest shaker card. So I have started with this layout here, and I am using the music note. I do not recommend that you do what I did though. I was really trying to stretch the pattern paper so I could make as many cards as I wanted, and by cutting that dome out of the side, this was so fiddly to stick back together. I saved you the pain of showing it on screen, but I don't recommend it. The cards look great, but it was so fiddly to put back that backing panel together. Now I'm putting together the first shaker, and you can see I peeled off the tape from just around the outline of this foam, and then attached it to the pattern paper music note behind it. And then I've pushed out the inner circle of the foam. So that inner piece will make sure that the foam outline stays true to shape. So I always take that out second. Now I'm just popping in some of these little shaker elements. I didn't fuss around too much with making my choices about what to add into which of the card shakers. I really there's such a variety in the 10 colours of shaker diamonds that I picked a few for each and then shook some in until I thought there was kind of enough to make some movement, but where I would have enough to stretch across the rest of the cards. It was very simple. So I did watch a little video on YouTube about how to create Queen & Company shaker elements, but it was really straightforward. I did not have any trouble at all. The number one thing is to be really careful with the acetate here to make sure you line it up and it covers all of the shaker element, because if you don't, you then end up in a bit of a situation where some of your little shaker bits might escape. In terms of attaching the element to the top, because of the way these foam pieces are pre-cut, actually the bit that goes on top of it is a little bit larger than the white. So I wasn't worried that I had to make it absolutely perfect. There's a little bit of wiggle room when you line it up. The biggest trick was actually making sure it stayed on with the liquid glue. So I tended to put it aside and then sit something on it to make sure that it was weighed down a little bit and it was really good connection for where I've glued it. Because this is the first of the shaker cards, I'm showing doing this again. And again, here's me popping out that center part and putting it to the side. It really does make sure that the shape of the element is just perfect and you're not going to have to fiddle around with it too much. I got a little bit overzealous with my pour here of the little pink diamonds, and I was able to basically save it by when I poured them in, I put them in different parts of the music note, so I didn't mix up the leftover diamonds. But even if I had, it really would not have mattered because they're all going to go in mixed up in the next shaker card anyway. Are you someone who's tried making shaker cards in the past? I have created them manually myself and enjoyed making them, but I have found them super fiddly. I was worried with Queen & Company that the foam looks really deep and like they'd be too bulky on the cards, but I really love the final result and I would absolutely use them again. In fact, I did buy quite a few of their card kits, so if you're enjoying this, then let me know below and I will do some more videos showcasing some of their other kits. All right. In terms of the glue that I used Barely Art liquid glue, and then I use my ATG for most things. Actually, I do use double-sided tape, but I found that my Barely Art glue worked absolutely perfectly when working on the clear acetate, so that was no concern at all. Here, I thought that I took this out of the video, but I must not. It has been a while since I edited. I'm doing the voiceover sometime later. It was so fiddly. This is at 3 times speed, and trying to line this up so that there wasn't a gap between the two of these was a total pain. So next time I'm not going to be so stingy with my pattern paper, and I am going to just cut that piece and layer it on top. I do think that actually adds to a design as well. When you've got lots of layers of paper, it makes it feel a little bit more weighty, and then adds a little bit to the specialness of it, I think. This did mean I had some great elements and the card wasn't too bulky, but for the future cards that I make, I think you'll see that I use more design elements than this really simple one, and they come out really great as well. On the screen, you can see the little music notes. There are quite a few little extras that are part of the die cutting set. So not just the 6 shaker elements, but also the little music notes. And then there is a treble clef as well. So you have a few things that you can use to add as extras on your cards. So when you're decorating and adding the little special pieces, there are other options in the card kit that match with all of the different primary elements. With these little music notes, basically I just ran them through with little scrap black cardstock, and then I did it enough times that I had enough of these that I could decorate cards with, and they're not all the same. So I put about 3 or 4 notes on each card depending on what they needed, and it was enough to kind of add some more notes to that top corner and then complete what's a pretty simple but really, really pretty card. I did do 3 of them as shaker cards, and then I also did 3 of them as non-shaker cards. So I'm going to show you the difference. Here's the shaker card close up, and then I'm going to show you a side-by-side comparison. Here's the shaker card and then the plain card. So same design, just one has the shaker elements and one doesn't. Both super, super cute. So you can get loads of cards quickly without creating the shaker, if that is your preference, using the exact same card kit. I will say that a music set is pretty special. There is not that many musical instruments and things around, especially in card kits. I find a lot of them are flowers and quite traditionally children or girly kind of styles. So anything that is music or I don't know, a little bit not flowers. Anything not flowers, I'm going to probably gravitate towards. All right, for these guitars here, I'm creating the little elements, and I have these, I think these are from Cat Scrappiness. I'm not sure, but they are gorgeous little mixed sequins. Some of them are the little discs that are hollow in the middle, and the others are flat sequins in multiple sizes. I ended up going through quite a bit of that in the end. I just had it sitting beside me as a little extra that I could add in, because I decided having just the diamonds on their own, they're very cute and very sparkly, but when there's different elements in there as a little bit of a mixture, I just think a shaker card looks better. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that this one looks better? I'm pretty sure I'll do a close-up in a moment for you. I did include orange, like the little orange circles, and they are called orange pops. And I did not order those from Queen & Company. They came in as a little extra with a little thank you sticker on it. So I think they put that in with my order as a free gift. So I did use that today because it absolutely perfectly matched with some of these cards, especially the ones using lots and lots of orange. And I do have some left over that I'll be able to use for another project because the quantity of those was quite large compared to the little sample size of the little diamonds that you get in the card kit itself. Now you can see me here mucking around cutting down some pretty small pieces of foam. Those are just to go behind, I guess, is it the neck of the guitar? I do not play guitar, so I have no clue what it's officially called. So that it stands up flat when I put the guitar itself onto this card. You'll notice that the card layout here is slightly different to the picture. It does have a star in it. I did not use a star, but I was trying to work out how am I going to put that element behind the guitar and then have the shaker element sit across it in a way that makes a little bit more sense. I did a couple of different options. Some of it was per the sketch with the extra musical note, and then others I tried something a little bit different. You can see that I've put the same white element on its side for the vertical card, and then I put the sentiment in a different spot. So most of the cards I didn't do exactly the same. I tried out a few different things so that if I find something that I like, I can use it again when I create more cards with this card kit. And honestly, putting these together was so much fun. The little happy birthday fit perfectly there on the musical note. And you can see here that I've used a variety of little tweaks to make these all a little bit different. Now I'm moving on to the third card design, and this is the one that has the musical notes. I love how this is literally just a square, and then it's got the gorgeous little music note design, and you can put whatever music notes you want in whatever place. Now, again, I am not a musician, so I just placed the notes wherever I felt like it. They could make a pretty tune, they could make no tune at all, they could sound terrible. I genuinely do not know, so I just tried to space them out a little bit and make it look like the space was filled nicely with the treble clef at the beginning and then enough of the notes to kind of fill the space. Here again, I am using the orange pops and the gorgeous gold sequins. And now I'm going through and trying to figure out which of the diamonds am I going to include. And I do include a couple in each one. And again, just to match the card layout. Here I've created the cards without the shaker elements, and they have a much more bold background and then a plain stripe across the front. So using exactly the same layout, you can get a completely different look. And honestly, using this pattern paper was absolutely fantastic. It is so gorgeous. Every time I had to try and match something up, it was an absolute dream, just because the color combinations within the kit they all work together. So it's pretty hard to make a mistake and have pattern paper left that's not a good match. I did choose to use the grey side of this paper rather than the piano keys. They felt so busy that I just wasn't sure which card to use them on. So if you are more ambitious than I am, I'm sure you will figure out a way to use the piano key paper on some of your cards. But for me, you will see the grey showing up quite regularly. So here they are. These are the design number 3 and a little bit of a mixture here. And I really like these. I think they turned out absolutely great. Moving on to the fourth design, and this one is just this love heart. I had to make a choice here. Do I stick with the music theme or do I maybe do something a little bit different, because it is a potential, Valentine's card, or you could even turn it into a birthday card. In the end, I decided it would be great to make some cards that were a little bit different to the music theme. It just shows the versatility of the kit. So if it's meant to be music and you can use it for something else, then to me, that's a win. Now, I'm using for my shaker elements here some paper rose elements. I had them in my stash from some extras that were in a mystery box that I got around Black Friday time. And I just threw in loads of them. And the mix is such a great idea because I didn't have to sort through and add them in one by one. And they just poured in with a really good mixture of all of the different elements in each of the 3 shaker cards. Now, for all of these, I've done 6 cards for each, which worked out absolutely perfectly because I was able to balance out the paper pad and make some decisions about whether I would use loads of the pattern paper on each card, or with some of the designs, I was able to supplement it with some extras. And on here, you will see for some of these backgrounds where it just has the 4 kind of pillars or the 4 strips of the pattern paper, they are using the stitched die, so they have really beautiful edging and they look very, very finished and complete. They look very different to if you had just cut strips of paper. So for me, the stitch edging on these dies really does set them apart and makes the cards look of really high quality. You'll see here that there's some shimmery pink on the left-hand side card just there, the right-hand panel, that is shimmery pink. And then on the one that I'm working on now, the one on the left is that same scrap. I basically just dug through my specialty scraps and found some heavy cardstock that was shimmery and matched. And I used that to supplement where I wanted to make sure I had enough paper that would stretch to do all 36 cards today. And there's that bright pink on the front as well. Totally different paper, but matches in beautifully. The grey strips that I have too across this, they were also part of my scraps. And then when I did these white circles with the gorgeous little stars cut out, also surprise, surprise, from my white scraps. So one of the things that was quite surprising when I was working through this project is I just kept everything that I had spare really close by, and then I used those to cut down the elements for the cards. I have actually created more than I needed. So where I had, enough of the scrap white cardstock to do 3 or 4 extras of these circle elements, I've done that and I've kept it with the card kit. So when I do a future project, and there might just be another sneaky video straight after this one that you could watch, I have extras that I can use when I'm working on something new. I will say that for these 2 designs, for most of them, I find that the shaker and then the plain card looks great because it's just a simple heart shape. Maybe it's a little bit less special than with the music ones. I still like it, but for this, I really like the shaker card quite a lot more than the plain one. All right, we're now moving on to design number 5, which is the piano. Now, you might recognize some of this footage if you watched my video that was doing the review of the card kit, because I did show you some of this while I did my review. This layout is so simple but looks absolutely fantastic. These foundation dies and the elements that they allow you to cut out really simply, added onto a really basic design, come up absolutely gorgeous. So with the piano keys, I have seen quite a few people who have used this kit that have put the little black strips for the black piano key across the entire piano. So if you get this kit, please make sure that when you do the piano, it goes 2, 3, 2. When you have the die and it cuts out the little black pieces, it cuts the exact number that you need to be able to make one piano. That's just a little bit of a tip. If you're enjoying the video, it would be fantastic if you could hit the like button. That is how YouTube decides to share it with more viewers. And if you have not subscribed and you're interested in seeing more content, then you can hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you in advance for that. All right, now with these pianos, honestly, I think the piano is actually my favorite. It's a toss-up between the piano and the guitar, and maybe the guitar was a little quicker to make, but the piano just looks so impactful. I think it's something to do with the shape of it that adds a whole lot of interest to a card. And I do think it's a little bigger than the guitar, so then even just that, it fills up the front of a card really, really nicely without creating any kind of imbalance. So the long, narrow part of the guitar makes it a little tricky and limits the options for card design, whereas with the piano, it just straight in the middle looks absolutely perfect. How do you like these card layouts and these designs? I've used some craft backing paper here to really highlight the greens and pull out those colours with the nice white border around the edge. So I'm curious as to which one of these is your favourites and which layout do you like the best? Here you can see that there are 3 of the different pianos, one showing the depth there of the full shaker die version. The next version is the one where we don't have any of the shaker elements at all. So this is just purely die cut and nice and flat there on the card. Still looks absolutely gorgeous and very much like a piano. And then this is the insert from the middle of the shaker card element. So I just used it to pop up the top of the piano, and I think that actually worked out super well. So I really do like how that came together. We're now on to the 6th design, and this one I do really like it, but I will not be making these again unless there's a very specific reason why I need violin cards. It was just so fiddly, and it's fiddly and gorgeous and works really well. This is not anything to do with the card kit. The card kit is brilliant. This is just my lack of patience for putting together complicated dies. I'm the kind of person who, if there's 3 or 4 pieces and I glue it together and it looks amazing, perfect. If there's 12 pieces to create an element out of a die set, I'm kind of done by the time I get halfway through. So this is not Queen & Company. This is nothing to do with the violin. This is literally just, I just don't have the patience to create lots of fiddly little ones. But I did want to make sure that I finished off 6 cards for each of the elements, or each of the main focus elements from the card. So I did complete it. I'm very impressed with myself, but it was a bit of a pain if I'm honest. Now I'm using this end of the leftover end of the foam tape again to put on the top part of the violin so that it doesn't sag at the top, given that these are the shaker elements. Obviously you don't need to do the same thing for the ones that are completely flat. And attaching these all on. Now the little bits at the top of the violin is one part, the bit down the middle is another, the neck rest is another, the little bits on the edge, the little F and the backwards F, I don't know what they're called because I'm not a musician. They are all completely separate. So that is why, On the top left-hand one, you can see that I've actually got the bow for the violin, and I only put that on one card because, again, more fiddling around. All right, here is what I have left. It is an absolute mixture of the outlines from the treble clef, some of the core elements from the cards that are left, some of the inserts from the foam, some of the extra piano keys. There is quite a few left of the diamonds and the pops. And then, of course, I do have the extra foam that is left. And you can see here I've got some of the stitched elements that are left over from when I was creating the cards. And if I cobble those together, I'm sure I'll be able to create something amazing. I have put another video here to what I did with all of those leftovers, and you'll be amazed at what I created. Have a great day.